There's a kind of person you meet who seems wise beyond their years. They listen more than they speak. They carry calmness like a shield, and their eyes have a weight that doesn't belong to someone their age. They seem composed, reliable, strong, but if you stay a little longer, you'll notice something else, a quiet kind of sadness behind their control. It's the sadness of someone who never got to just be a child. They're the ones who grew up too fast. Maybe you've met one. Maybe you are one. They were the child who didn't cry much because there was no one there to comfort them. The child who stayed awake listening to their parents fight, silently wishing to grow old enough to fix everything. The one who made breakfast for their siblings while other kids were still learning to tie their shoes. And somewhere between helping everyone else and staying strong, their own childhood quietly slipped away. They learned to survive by maturing fast. They became the adult before they even finished being the child, and the world applauded them for it. "You're so responsible," people said. "You're so mature for your age." They smiled politely at the compliment, not realizing it was actually the symptom of something deeper. A child learning that love only comes when you re-useful. And so, they became useful. They learned to sense moods before anyone spoke. They learned how to defuse tension, how to stay small, how to make everyone comfortable. Their gift for reading people became almost psychic because their safety depended on it. They were the ones who remembered everyone's birthdays, but forgot their own dreams. They carried guilt for resting, shame for needing, and an invisible backpack full of "what if I disappoint them" that they never take off. When life forces you to grow up too soon, you develop an extraordinary kind of intelligence, emotional intelligence. You can read a room like a map. You can predict danger before it happens. You become self-sufficient, independent, unshakable. But deep down, the same strength that keeps you alive also keeps you lonely, because you never learned how to need others safely. There's an unspoken rule inside these people. Don't rely on anyone. They'll only leave. So they build lives that look perfect on the outside, productive, responsible, admired. But under the surface is a constant, quiet exhaustion, the kind that sleep doesn't fix. It's the exhaustion of carrying everyone, including yourself. As adults, they often become the caretaker in every relationship, the fixer, the listener, the calm one. They're the person everyone calls in crisis, but no one asks, "How are you?" Because they've trained everyone to believe they're fine. They even believe it themselves, until one day, their body says otherwise. Anxiety, burnout, emptiness. The nervous system finally cashes the debt childhood left behind. People who grew up too fast often mistake hyper-independence for peace. But independence born from fear isn't freedom. It's armor. It's the echo of a child whispering, "I can't depend on anyone, so I'll depend only on myself." And here's the strange part. That armor works. It helps you succeed, function, survive. But it also keeps love at a distance. Real intimacy requires vulnerability. The one thing early maturity doesn't teach you how to do. You might crave connection, yet feel uncomfortable when someone actually gets close. You might even push away the very safety you've always wanted because your nervous system doesn't recognize it. It only recognizes chaos. That's why some of the calmest people are the most internally restless. They've mastered the art of emotional regulation, but not the feeling of emotional safety. Their calm isn't peace. It's control, and it started the day they decided to protect everyone, including themselves, from pain. So what happens to these people as life goes on? They become achievers, helpers, people pleasers. They chase success, not always for the joy of it, but for the security it brings. They build walls made of achievements. They collect praise instead of affection. They fear failure not because of pride, but because failure feels like rejection, and rejection reminds them of childhood. They fall in love carefully, always scanning for danger. They apologize too much. They take care of partners, co-workers, friends, anyone who reminds them of the people they once couldn't save. And when someone finally tries to take care of them, it feels strange, even uncomfortable, because care feels unfamiliar, because their inner child doesn't believe they're allowed to be soft. Growing up too fast rewires the way you relate to the world. It teaches you that emotions are luxuries and vulnerability is a risk. But here's the truth that healing whispers: you're not weak for needing help. You are human, and that's something the child version of you was never told. You don't have to keep being the adult you became to survive. You're allowed to outgrow the survival version of yourself. That begins with slowing down. It begins with noticing. Notice the part of you that rushes to fix, to comfort, to perform. Ask it gently, what are you afraid will happen if I stop? Most of the time, the answer is simple. I'm afraid no one will love me. And that is where the healing starts. By teaching that younger part that love doesn't have to be earned through usefulness. You don't have to save everyone to deserve rest. You don't have to keep pretending you're fine to be accepted. You don't have to stay strong all the time to be worthy of love. Sometimes, being brave means breaking down. Sometimes, being grown means admitting you still need care. It's a slow, quiet process. Learning to give yourself what no one gave you: safety, permission, rest, the chance to be seen without performing, the courage to say, I can't do this alone. And maybe that's what growing up for real looks like. Not becoming strong, but becoming soft again. Because softness is what we lose when we're forced to mature too soon. It's what makes us human. Letting yourself be soft again is terrifying, but it's also freedom. When you start healing, you begin to notice the small moments that your child self missed. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the comfort of being hugged without earning it, the relief of crying without needing to explain why. You start giving yourself what the world once withheld: time, tenderness, patience. And that's when the armor begins to loosen. You stop apologizing for needing rest. You stop feeling guilty for saying no. You stop measuring your worth by how useful you are to others. You begin to realize that peace isn't found in control. It is found in trust, in allowing yourself to exist without performing. For some, healing means therapy. For others, it's journaling, silence, prayer, or long walks that give the mind room to breathe. But for everyone, it means returning to the parts of you that were paused, the playful, curious, innocent parts that never got the chance to grow freely. And maybe you'll discover something beautiful there, that your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The same awareness that once kept you safe can now help you connect, understand, and love deeply if you let it guide you gently instead of guard you fiercely. People who grew up too fast often fear being too much or too emotional. But emotions are not flaws to fix. They're messages to listen to. They're the language of the soul saying, I exist, I need, I feel. and you have every right to feel, even if no one ever taught you how. Healing from early maturity isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to be someone else. The real you, the one who laughed loudly, who dreamed wildly, who trusted easily, is still in there, waiting for permission to come out. Give yourself that permission. Let yourself live at your own pace. Let yourself be taken care of. Let yourself be human, because you were never meant to carry the whole world. You were meant to live in it, breathe in it, love in it, rest in it, and maybe, after all this time, you'll finally meet the version of you who doesn't have to be strong every day. The one who knows that peace isn't earned, it's allowed. The one who knows that love isn't conditional, it's given. The one who knows that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is put down the armor and whisper, "I'm tired, but I'm ready to heal." And that's okay. That's where everything finally begins. Continuation, extension from 25, 40 minutes. But healing is never linear. Some days you'll feel light, and other days you'll fall back into old patterns. The people-pleasing, the overthinking, the silence. Don't mistake that for failure. It's just your inner child testing whether it's finally safe to be seen. Sometimes you'll catch yourself apologizing for existing, for needing, for not being okay. And in those moments, remember, you're not broken for feeling small. You're remembering what small felt like. You're revisiting the age where you first decided you had to be strong. Every time you choose kindness toward yourself instead of punishment, you rewrite your story. Every time you allow yourself to rest without guilt, you show your younger self that the world can be gentle too. The truth is, growing up too fast gives you gifts too. Depth, empathy, understanding. You see things others miss. You feel things deeply. You become the kind of person who can sit with someone's pain without needing to fix it. That's rare. That's powerful. But you deserve to use that power on yourself too. You deserve to sit with your pain without rushing to fix it, without turning it into productivity. The hardest part for people like you is receiving. You're so used to giving that receiving feels uncomfortable, maybe even wrong. But receiving love, care, and rest isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's how you refill the well that others have been drinking from all your life. Sometimes, healing doesn't look dramatic. It's not loud. It's not a breakthrough moment. It's sitting quietly with a cup of tea, realizing you no longer feel the need to earn your place in someone's heart. It's saying no without over-explaining. It's falling asleep without replaying the day, wondering if you said something wrong. It's peace, subtle, quiet, and finally yours. And as you walk through this new version of yourself, you'll begin to meet people differently. You'll stop chasing those who only love the strong version of you. You'll start attracting those who love the soft version too, the version that laughs, forgets, cries, and breathes freely. You'll learn that love doesn't demand you shrink. Real love lets you expand. And maybe that's what all of this was preparing you for. Not perfection, but authenticity. To finally live as you, not the caretaker, not the peacemaker, not the responsible one, just you. If no one ever told you this before, let these words do it now. You didn't fail by growing up too fast. You survived something you shouldn't have had to, and that survival made you extraordinary. But now, survival isn't your job anymore. Living is. So breathe, rest, let yourself exist without earning it. Because you're not behind in life. You're simply walking home, back to yourself, step by step, memory by memory, breath by breath. And when you finally get there, you'll realize you were never lost. You were just waiting to feel safe enough to come back.